Okay, I think we have enough people here to get started. There's at least 4 or 5 from the Bayfront. I'll just talk about it real quickly about how the meeting's going to run, and if you can mute your mics, that'll help with the feedback. And we may have to mute them ourselves if it gets to be difficult. I'm glancing at the participant names, so I'll have things jump in as it comes along on the agenda. So, and for the sake of time, I don't think we'll do introductions at this point, but when you speak, if you could introduce yourself, that would be great. Here's the Janiza's sharing the agenda now. Can everybody see that? Just give me a thumbs up.
Well, I can see it.
Okay, great. And I'm just going to cue Phil into when he speaks, and I'll run through the agenda. It'll make it easier, I think, since the meeting's being run from over here. The first item would be the approval of the minutes. And sorry for the 4-pager because we had a lot of items at the last meeting and a lot of comments and discussion. So unless somebody needs to see it, it might take a little while to share that. Have y'all had a chance to look over that?
I have. All it has.
I'm good with it.
Okay, great. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to concur.
Is it a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, great. And then all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Okay, and before I hand it over to Phil for his chairman's report, I did want to mention that we did delay the voting for officers today. I just wanted to make the meeting as simple as possible since this is our first virtual meeting. So that'll occur in February, hopefully. And also, Kay and I were going to look at the bylaws, and I also want to postpone that until February. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Phil. And Phil, I did notice that Ernest McDonald is on the meeting, and he's with the Navy, and I'm not sure if
He's a base planner.
right. I'm not sure if Captain Witherspoon's on here. I don't think so, but if you can maybe introduce him, because I don't think he's actually met the whole commission. And I'll mute myself.
All right. Captain Witherspoon is the new CEO. I say new, he's been there for a little while now, but this is kind of the first time that they've been involved with the BAC since the pandemic started. So, now that we're doing a virtual meeting, they're both invited to attend. And as Mark said, Ernest McDonald, who is the base planner, I believe that's correct, Ernest, is here with us. So, Ernest, anything you would like to say?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the brief introduction. It's a pleasure to meet everyone. I apologize for not having video, and the audio quality is a little suspect as well. So I hope everybody can hear me at this point.
I don't need to look at that anymore.
But just
I can hear you fine.
Okay, great. A little bit of background. I'm not the installation planner. I am a community planner by background, education, and experience. But I am the community planning liaison for the base, which is responsible for intergovernmental relations, as well as serving as a designee in Captain Witherspoon's absence to this particular commission. So I would like to socialize myself more frequently with this with the activities. I apologize for not being more actively engaged, but the pandemic has preempted some of my participation up until now. But I've been in contact with Mark. He's been very gracious in sharing your agendas, and I've plugged myself into some observation from afar, but I do expect to become more engaged. So I'm going to just simply sit back today and watch your activities unfold and be available to participate going forward. Captain Witherspoon extends his apologies for not being able to attend today, but he had a commitment arise at the last minute. So he was planning to be here, but unfortunately he can't be. Hopefully he'll make the next meeting. But thank everyone for introducing me once again. I'm pleased to be a part of this, a part of your discussions here today.
Hey, thank you, Ernest, very much, and we are happy that you are able to join us, and hopefully will continue to in the future.
Absolutely. Thanks again.
One other item to talk about. I forget exactly which date it was, but about a month ago, myself and Bob Magoon met with the two council liaisons. Mark was at the meeting also. The city manager, the director of planning, the director of public works, and one of the deputy city managers. And we, I think, had a very good meeting. We talked about what our strategic plan was and what our highest items for moving forward were. And I hope we made some good headway. I think we just have to wait now to see how the budget shakes out to make sure that we are able to get some of the things that we talked about. But so we're very optimistic about that. Bob, I don't know whether you're on this call or not, but if you are, do you have anything to offer? Okay. With that, let's go to staff reports and updates. Design, Bob Magoon.
I can do the staff updates until Bob gets on. After my updates, I will forward the link to Bob just in case he's having trouble getting on. Stacy Shiflett also needed a new link to get on. So anyway, I did want to kind of go through some of the actions that have been taken at the City Council and Planning Commission level, and then the pending ones. On January 5th, the HK on the Bay was approved. And on the 19th, Windsong was approved. And I think that was a split vote, like 7-4, I believe. February 6th, and now going into the future ones, the 7-Eleven at Shore and Greenwell was recommended for approval by Planning Commission and will be going to City Council on the 16th of February. And then on February 10th, and Rob can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Marina Shores is going to the Planning Commission in February on the 10th. And then in March, this 7-Eleven on today's meeting from back has been pushed to March instead of February. The earliest Marlin Bay now can go to Planning Commission would be April. So I understand that's been pushed, and that's why they didn't seek to be on our agenda today. Another thing I just wanted to mention was that there was a site plan that was submitted for the northwest corner of Starfish and Cape Henry, just because it might be a visible situation where a duplex is being raised, and also they're adding square footage to it. But that's kind of a by right site plan approval. I just wanted to mention that one as well. And that concludes
what that location is
for the duplex.
Yeah.
I don't have a street address, but I did see where the site plan said it was the northwest corner of Starfish and Cape Henry.
Okay, Starfish and Cape Henry. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
And let me check to see if Bob is trying to get in or not.
I think I saw that he came in.
Oh, he did. Okay. So I will go ahead and mute myself and start with the design committee report. And if Faith or Joe wants to speak, maybe Bob can call on them.
I have a question, Phil. Is everybody still seeing the virtual meeting agenda on their screen?
I
Charlie, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm still seeing the virtual. Do we need to continue to see that? It blocks everybody seeing who's on the meeting.
I certainly don't need it because I have a printed copy of it anyway.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we could take it down.
Thank you.
Okay, Mark, I saw that Bob had joined the meeting, but I'm not sure whether his mic's on.
Okay, I don't see his name myself. Possibly Joe Bovey. I think I see HBA Architecture here. Did Bob share everything with you as far as the review of the 7-Eleven?
Yeah, I'm here, and I'm not sure. I don't see Bob either, but yeah, he communicated with me and with Faith on the 7-Eleven, and we worked with, and we've got. Looks like we've got them. They've made the adjustments we requested. For some changes to the. There's a mechanical well on the backside of the building that has a screen around it, and we'd asked them to look at that. We'd asked them to look at some roof lines. And those are all things that I would say it appears they've adjusted, as well as colors. So I think it's been a success. I don't know if you said I had trouble getting in too, so I wasn't on the very, very first part of this. And so I wasn't sure, Mark, if you said what the schedule is for that one, but I think we're in good shape on our end.
It sounds good. And I see Bob's name again. I don't know if he can try to get in.
Well, Mark, while we're waiting for Bob, I can share that Bob did meet with the developer of Marlin Bay, and I think they had a good conversation. But when I say I think they had a good conversation, I don't know that that necessarily means they're going to make a lot of adjustments to their plan. So, we'll have to wait and see about that.
Okay. Well,
Bob hasn't shared with us what they discussed.
right. So
We have nothing for communications. How about public safety? Charlie?
Charlie had something, yes.
Yeah, I'm on here. Can anybody hear me? Can I be heard? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
I can hear you fine, Charlie.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you. Regarding Route 35, HRT is in the process of going through their budget, and we're going to make a push, or the city's going to make a push for the service on the regular schedule to resume this summer. And as a reminder, if you recall, the daily service was from Memorial Day to the end of August. And then from September through Neptune Festival, it was Friday through Sunday. And we're going to push for the trolleys, which, as everyone knows, is open air, and it may help retard any COVID that would be floating around in the vehicle. Also, they indicated that they're having some trouble hiring and retaining drivers, so that may be some impact on the schedule as the summer gets closer. Any questions?
I have one other thing to add. Brian Solis, I think we'll be talking with City Council.
That was my next topic, but go ahead, Mark.
That's fine. You can go ahead, Charlie.
Okay. Yeah, Brian Solis, he'll be doing a presentation to City Council in February for the scooters, and we'll see how that shakes out. And that concludes my comments.
Okay, we don't need to pull the agenda up, but I think the next item would be the special presentation. That would be with Rob Beeman for the 7-Eleven at the corner of Shore and Pleasure House. And I'll let him share the screen. He'll be showing his site plan and elevations. And if everyone else can please mute while he's doing it, that'd be great.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. I'm going to attempt to share my screen. I made a little PowerPoint to share with everybody. Let's see if I can get this up. Can everybody see that PowerPoint?
Surely,
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, great. There we go. Well, thank you, Mark, for the opportunity, and Mr. Chairman for the opportunity to come back. Just to refresh everybody's recollection, and for those that weren't at the November meeting, I originally appeared at the November meeting to make an initial presentation regarding the proposed 7-Eleven store that's to be located at the corner of Pleasure House and Shore Drive. Right now, it's a vacant site, and of course, 7-Eleven is interested in acquiring and redeveloping it. I have on the screen right now, and I apologize it's so small, but I have a copy of our site plan, and I don't know if you see my cursor, but the site plan is on the left and the landscape plan is on the right. As I indicated to the group during the last meeting in November, a couple of the key aspects of this site, we are going to be extending a sidewalk the entire length of Pleasure House, where there currently is none, and then completing the sidewalk along Shore Drive as well. So the entirety of the frontage, both frontages, will have pedestrian access. Additionally, another feature of this is we're consolidating entrance points. Right now, this site is served by 4 separate vehicular access points. And as a result of this project, we're taking it down to 2, a full movement here on Pleasure House, and then a right in, right out on Shore Drive. And also the other thing I want to point out on this one on Pleasure House, we're combining with the property to the south to do a joint access. One of the things we mentioned during the last meeting, we had initial conversations with Mr. Magoon regarding the elevations, and I noted that we look forward to working with him between the November meeting and this meeting to try to address comments that he and Ms. Christie and Mr. Bovee had regarding the elevations. And we have done that over the past month or so, couple of months. We have exchanged correspondence and spoken with Mr. Magoon. He's been very, very generous with his time, as have the others on the committee. And what I wanted to do is just kind of show you a side-by-side of where we started and where we've come. The exhibit on the left of this screen is the original elevation that we submitted with our conditional use permit application. And the exhibit on the right is the current elevation, which we have arrived at today based on the comments we've received from your design review committee. And I just wanted to walk through a couple of the highlights if I could. As you'll see, the primary change, and it's a big change, is the change of the roof from a flat hipped roof to a full gable. As you'll see, a standing seam gable, which really changes kind of the dynamic and the overall shape and feel of the whole building. We've also narrowed down the entrance feature and made it much more well-defined with a tower. And then, of course, have added glazing on the side elevations where there was just a faux window panels proposed before. And then we have darkened the water table along the base of the building with a more traditional kind of red brick feel, and have also extended that up on the corners as kind of a vertical element for articulation. And finally, we took some inspiration from the rescue squad building just down Shore Drive, which I believe Mr. Bevy might have been involved in the design of. And we've incorporated a white color band along all 4 sides of the elevation and decorative brackets that mimic or recall those used for the rescue squad building down the street. So as you can see, and the final thing I want to point out, we've also changed the color of the building to aqua verde, I believe, which is a more appropriate color for a coastal architectural theme. So there have been a lot of changes to the building. We think it's a better building, a better application. We appreciate all the feedback we've gotten. And again, I appreciate all the time Mr. Magoon and the others on the committee have spent on this. The final thing I wanted to point out, there were 2 questions that were raised by the commission during our last meeting in November. One was the proximity of another 7-Eleven, which is just across Shore Drive on the other side of Pleasure House Road North, I guess. And And then there was a question whether or not this location would co-locate with a restaurant provider. You know, some 7-Elevens have a Subway or a food provider as part of their operation. And I got some feedback from 7-Eleven on those two, and just wanted to close the loop on those two if I could. The first question, the lease, as I understand it, on the existing 7-Eleven north of Shore Drive expires in 2023. So by the time this building goes through the building review process, site plan process, and were to be constructed, there wouldn't be much overlap in terms of those two buildings. So this will be kind of the sole location on a permanent basis moving forward. And then the second question, 7-Eleven doesn't currently intend to co-locate a restaurant in this facility, but they did ask me just to let the commission know that they do intend to roll out this is part of a national rollout of a more robust prepared food offering that 7-Eleven is going to start in their stores, which will include things like mini tacos, hot sandwiches, fresh salads, fruits and vegetables, that sort of thing. So there will be more offerings in terms of food and prepared foods in this 7-Eleven than you're typically used to, but they do not intend at this point to co-locate with another chain restaurant. But with that, I appreciate the commission having me back. I appreciate, again, the time that the design review committee spent with us over the past couple of months, and we'll certainly stand by for any questions you have.
Bob Magoon, do you have anything else to offer with that? Joe?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. It's Bob Magoon. So sorry to be challenged getting in. But no, I have to thank Rob and the architect, the client, just for being so cooperative. So very easy to work with, and I think we have a great outcome.
Okay, very good. Rob, I'm also going to offer my thanks to you for helping to come up with a better design that is more consistent with what we had in mind. And it couldn't have happened without you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And at this point, we will need to have a motion to
Phil,
concur that this meets the guidelines of the Shore Drive corridor.
Phil, do you want to ask if there's any discussion from the other members and then the public?
Yeah, I've got a question to ask.
Okay.
I just want to make sure I understand correctly in the relation to the proximity of that 7-Eleven on the other side of Shore Drive. So you had said that lease is up in 2023, and the expectation is they would no longer lease that site and totally consolidate to the new structure, which is on the corner of Pleasure House and Shore Drive.
Yes, ma'am. That's my understanding of their intention.
Okay, thanks.
Are there any other
comments
from the public?
From the public. Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll go ahead and make this, Bob Magoon. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve the plan consistent with the Shore Drive corridor design guidelines.
I'll second that motion.
Approval.
I'll second that.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Wally seconds.
Okay. Any more discussion?
I have one question for Mr. Beeman about the swale in the parking lot. Which way is that water going to run off? Is it going to run off towards Pleasure House Road and Shore Drive? That's going to be a pretty big project. Are you going to add any concrete to that existing concrete that's there right now? I can't hear him.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. I apologize.
That's okay.
My understanding is we've got a preliminary design. My understanding is the stormwater system hasn't been fully designed at this point. We do understand that we have to comply with the new state regulations, which require us to reduce the volume of runoff running off into the city system in the right of way. And I know that we're looking at a number of on-site storage and quality treatment measures on that. But certainly we will need to comply with the state regulations. You make a great point that most of the site is currently impervious right now. It's currently paved. So we will not be adding much, if any, pavement at all.
Just as a sidelight to that, I know Public Works has a couple of different stormwater projects in that area. And I would just ask that you make sure you touch base with them so you're kind of consistent with what's going on there.
Yes, sir. We certainly will.
Any more comments, questions? Okay. Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Totally aye.
Aye.
Wally, aye.
Okay, motion approved.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Beal.
you.
Thank you.
Okay. I also wanted to recognize Janiza. I think Nina Goodell is on the line for Cultural Affairs, and she has an update.
I do. Hello. Just let me know if you can hear me okay. And I want to pull up, there it is. So I do have an update on the Public Art Gateway project for the Underpass on Shore Drive. As we all know, it's been put on hold for the selection of the artist. We did receive several submissions back in May of 2020, and we finally have the approval as we enter the new year to continue with that process and get a timeline in place. So just to catch everyone up, I have 2 dogs that you might hear in the background that are loud. Just ignore them as best you can. I apologize in advance. We did take a site walk just before the new year to assess and evaluate the site and the site prep that needs to be done in the city end, which we will fully update everyone and when we update with the artists as to what that timeline looks like. And I'm hoping to put together our review committee for the second full week at some point in February. And from this group, we have I just want to confirm who is going to be on that review and selection committee. It's Bob Magoon, Wally Damon, and Joe Bovey, just to confirm. So you'll be getting take a look at that day, that week, and if there's any time that you're definitely not available, let us know when you are not available, because I'll be pulling together folks from other sectors that will also be on that panel. So I want to find a time that works for everyone. So sometimes it's easier to say when you're definitely not available. And let us know. Just email Mark and I, and we'll get that rolling. And so hopefully by March, we will have an artist set and in place, as well as a project timeline. Does anyone have any questions? So I'm really excited that this is finally moving along and we're able to move ahead. So.
Thank you, Nina.
You're welcome.
I see Stacy's name on here too. If she had anything to say about the love art, I know we got some more information on that.
Mm-hmm.
So we sent the architectural rendering. So just keep me posted on that.
Yep.
And Andy sent me the final cost. So once that's approved, we'll start our fundraising efforts.
Perfect. So I did receive those. Mark and I did on Saturday, and I did send them to our counterparts to review the stamped engineering and to walk you through the permitting. And if there's any questions on our end, we will let you know as they arise. Okay. So we'll get that moving ahead as well.
So is Andy responsible for the permitting also?
It would be, well, we could talk on the back end about that, but any of the permitting, we'll kind of walk you through that. So it'll be through him and you as well. We'll go through the details. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Perfect. I think that's it. Any other questions on? I think we're good. Thank you.
All right, thank you both, Stacy and Nina. I think Phil, I think it's committee reports. Should we move to Civic League and citizen comments, Phil?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, do we have any reports? And we'll try without the virtual hands. I think it's been working fairly well with people just speaking up since there's not too many people in the meeting.
Can I speak about Windsong for a second?
Yes.
This is Wally.
Yes.
So Windsong went before council the other day and we lost. Windsong won 7-4. A few of the people that voted against us didn't even have anything to say about it. They just said no. Okay. And I thought that was pretty horrible. This really bothers me that the people who have lived here in Chesapeake Beach for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years and bought homes, that we can't really get a real grasp of why they're allowing this contractor to rezone. This is crazy. There's not even any A36 anywhere around Shore Drive around here, yet they're allowing this. There has been some talk about appealing it to circuit court, but I don't know what that process would take. That's all I wanted to say.
I have seen some traffic about that on the internet, on Facebook. Two of the people who opposed the rezoning were our two liaisons. So they're hearing us and they're listening. So.
Yeah, well, please, if you're listening, we need to know why you would go against the homeowners that have been here for decades in Chesapeake Beach and going for the apartment ownership over there and the people who live there, who don't even come to our Civic League meeting. I've been going to our Civic League meetings for 26 years, and I've never, ever met one person from Windsong coming to our Civic League meeting, not a person. So anyway, I was really put off by it.
Okay. Thank you, Wally.
All right, you're welcome.
Okay, any other comments from the public?
Can I say something, Wally?
Yes, please.
It's Morgan.
Yes.
Not Wally, I'm sorry, Phil, but yes, addressed to Wally, excuse me. It's been a hot topic. My phone has been blowing up for the last 48 or 24 hours whenever that decision was made. Ocean Park is really, really concerned about the precedent that Windsong Apartments is about to set as it relates to Marlin Bay. So I'm just saying it's reverberating through the whole Shore Drive community, and let's just say that everybody's city council's number was set out for everybody to start making phone calls, because there is a big worry that this is just going to change Shore Drive altogether.
Thank you, Morgan. I will say that I have personally talked with both Lewis Jones and Jim Wood about that and let them know that there aren't many people who are in favor of that project at 836. So anyway, there are only two people on council, so we'll have to see how the rest of the people vote when it does come up.
Bill, this is MC Munden. Can I say something on that?
Certainly may.
Well, I definitely agree. It just left me cold. I caught the end of that whole council meeting and the comments made, and I was very impressed with what John Moss had to say. And I was
Absolutely.
very impressed. I was very impressed that Jim and Lewis voted against it. They not sometimes seeing things the way a lot of the community does, but I thought this was a step too far by City Council to approve this, even though they seem to lean on the money it would generate. And I'm sorry, I think those of us that live here on Shore Drive, we generate a lot more money, or we generate a lot of money, but a lot more warm feelings and love for this area. And I think we need to be listened to, and I just hope maybe it can come back for another vote. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments?
Phil, this is Todd Solomon. Can you hear me?
Hey, Todd.
Hey, I'm going to piggyback off of that also. The Shore Drive Community Coalition is really concerned. We had voiced it at the Westminster Canterbury vote that it was going to be precedent setting with increased densities for redevelopment. And we said it was going to be a trend. So with one approval, that's not a trend. Now with two approvals, you've set a trend, in our opinion. It's something fearful, especially on Shore Drive, the corridor with redevelopment, that it appears the majority, granted you say our two council people, but they've got to get the 6 votes, which is unfortunate that they didn't. But that this is going to set a precedence for redevelopment. And the only way the 6 are approving it is that the developers are saying we need to increase density to make this worth our while and make money. So our fear is that all of these developments that are coming, that are redevelopments, are going to push the envelope of an already high, as you know, the highest density in the city. So this one was initially set at 65% above density. It got dropped down to 55%. So still 55% above the allowable density that was there is still way too much, along with Westminster, which we know is 255%. So in the next one's in the pipeline, like you mentioned, Marlin Bay, that's going to be above density requirements. And then the Marina Shores Apartments, which is asking for its proffer to be removed so it can increase density. And both of those we know are probably going to go through approval since they already have the 7 votes that they need. So again, it's a concern that we have all along Shore Drive in the overlay, and it'll trickle down throughout the rest of the city, I'm sure, with approving everything based upon developers' plans for extra density.
If everyone can mute their mics, I'm hearing a lot of feedback.
I think that's Doug Morris's keeps popping on. The only other thing I wanted to bring up, they did also approve by consent, which was nice, the memorandum of understanding for the sand replenishment. So that's going through and moving ahead. I think they needed some extra, maybe $3 million or something like that to complete that. And I believe August 2022 maybe is when they're going to start moving sand. So we still have to wait through another 2, I guess, northeasters and 1 hurricane season or 2. So hopefully get some sand on that. And then the other item was the short-term rental overlay. I think they had there was 2 public hearings. Unfortunately, Cape Story got our notice the day, or about 3 hours after they held the first one. So we all went to the second one virtually. I believe there was maybe 150 people that were on there, or 125 asking 150 questions. So that was worthwhile. And we've heard from Vice Mayor Wood. Vice Mayor Wood has actually sent an email saying that he's going to recommend Cape Story be removed as an overlay. So our question back to council is going to be, do we have to wait until 2 or 3 months when they see it, when it comes back through planning, to vote that out, or can they go ahead and vote on that on a standalone meeting to remove that from the overlay, so we don't have to sit around and keep waiting and get 50 people online like this and try and fight through these audio virtual meetings, and just to show, for them if they're going to support it. So that's kind of where we stand on that. And I did actually, Kay, I think I left you a message on your machine one time asking about that, if that's something that city council can do, or do they have to follow this process through since they recommended the ordinance? Could they throw a revision to it while it was still in planning's hands and have that removed before it came back? And that's it for us.
They really, They can remove parts of it, but it's already been sent to planning, and planning will have a meeting on the 28th at 6 o'clock. It's their workshop. It will be virtual like this, but there will be no comment from the public. So you can kind of come in and hear what planning has to say. Normally when Mr. Wood, when the vice mayor comes on and says, I'm going to take this out, he kind of lets his planning commission guys know that, and they'll kind of take it out there. If they don't, Mr. Wood can of course take it out when it goes to council. It should go to council sometime after. Okay, you heard none of that, did you? I've been talking for minutes.
I unmuted you because somehow it got muted. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, you said it should go to council. It should go to council, and then you got muted.
Okay, it should go to council on sometime after the second Wednesday in March. Planning intends to defer it in February and then take a vote in March. That's at least last time they were together. They may very well do something else because the March date will be after their 100 days.
Thank you, Kay.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, no further comments.
Phil, let me chime in. I'm sorry I didn't get on earlier, but one thing we haven't covered is I did meet with John Peterson about Marlin Bay. Has that come up yet, Mark?
We already did your design report, but this would be a good time to continue with it.
Okay. Well, I met with John Peterson and really presented to him the questions that we had for Marlin Bay at our two previous meetings. It was beneficial. We in their conference room, I was able to point out some of the better features and some of the lesser features, in my opinion, of the project. But so it was a good conversation. We'll see what comes of it. No promises were made, so we'll just have to see the next iteration. But it does. It's something that Todd just said reminds me of about to make it worth the developers' while to do Windsong. In a conversation with a planning commission member, he told me that Westminster told him to make it feasible to do the development, that they had to get the density that they were doing. It's at some point in time, I would love, as somebody who sat on a city council, sat on a board of supervisors and a planning commission, I would love to have the opportunity to go show me. Because if statements like this are going to be made, maybe the city of Virginia Beach needs to start doing, requesting feasibility studies and doing an analysis, financial analysis of the project. Because if we've got planning commission members and city council members who are taking this as fact, that they have to do this to make it feasible, I doubt that those comments would hold up with much scrutiny or much credibility once scrutiny was applied to it. So I'm wondering aloud how we can push back on comments like that being made. I know what I said to the member of Planning Commission about Westminster, and I don't think he particularly liked it.
I see Todd has his virtual hand up. Do you want to say something, Todd?
Sorry, that was up from before everybody started talking. So I'm sorry. I will remove my hand from being up. There we go. No, I'm good. But I agree with Bob. It's not just council, it's planning, and unfortunately, it's planning, it's staff. There are no criterias for these extra densities, and it's just random percentages, and it's going to be based upon each development as they propose it. So slowly but surely, you'll increase your 36 units per acre that are along Shore Drive as each redevelopment comes in. And of course, any developer is smart, and they're not going to come in and say, "Oh, I can do it for what's the baseline requirement." Of course I can, but why the hell would I do that when I can bump it up another, 200 units or 150 or 100 units and make even more money? So why in their right minds would they do that if they know city council is going to bless it all? So that's it. Thanks.
I want to say, this is Morgan again, that, the key is that if somebody would turn around, like Bob is saying, and ask, what's your target margin? So it's not about, maybe it isn't financially feasible for their target margin, but the question is, what is their target margin? And that is, that's the age old, I'm in healthcare sales. That's what we do. That's what we do, is we say it's not meetable, and because it's our target, but nobody asks us what our target is. 38% profit margin is not acceptable these days. Certainly not in the city. But I'll shut up now.
Okay. Any other comments? Anything for the good of the order?
Before we go, I did want to thank Robin Hart from my office and Janiza Badua, who is still on, who have helped me with the technical aspects of getting this meeting up and running. And I did want to thank everybody for your attendance. I'm very surprised we had, I think, everybody here from the commission, all but I'm thinking everybody. And the meeting is being recorded. That's going to be very helpful for the minutes. And for the attendance, I did want to see if they went themselves. And then there's another one that's with the initials MB.
Can I say one more comment before we go? This is Walt.
Sure.
So when I was doing construction management many years ago, my thing that I had to do on most of my big jobs was a critical path method schedule. I'll guarantee you that out of 11 people sit on city council, I'll bet you anything that there's probably only a few of them that have ever even heard that term. Before you put the shingles on the roof, you got to have the walls up, when you're building something. This thing is not ready to support A36. The roadway's not ready for it. This roadway it's 100 years old. It's been one way north and one road in and one road out for 100 years. And so this is really, really bad. The people on city council who didn't even speak voted against it, and they had no idea what they were doing. So I want to leave you right there. I'll probably lose my place on BAC for saying that.
No, you won't. You're not getting out that easy. Okay, any other comments or concerns? Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah, man.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, very good.
Great,
you
thank you, everybody.
all for
See y'all on
attending
February 18th.
virtually.
Is it February 18th? Is that what it is, Phil? Okay.
Yes. And it'll be virtual again, I'm pretty sure.
All right, sir. Y'all be careful.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.